afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I think we have about a minute left. Um, so,
Mm.
Renette's going to introduce everyone talking. So, you can see on the panel just quickly where I fit in. I'm from Penguin, the educational side. And we also have Iana, which is handling our technical side. And I think while I'm saying that, I'm just quickly going to pop in the chat line. That is Tippie's WhatsApp line. So please join it so that you can see everything happening as it's happening, when it's happening. And yes, thanks, Yana. I think while we wait, we have a minute left. You can just type in the chat line where you're from, what are you hoping to hear today, what are you hoping to see. It's a very interesting one. I've seen some things behind the scenes. Yes, let us know where you're joining us from today. We do that one as well. Polokwane. Yeah, I was saying the other day, I'm not used to all the new names, so every time I have to Google which place belongs to which new place. So welcome from Polokwane, and good. I'm myself is from Cape Town as well. And my
And
spelling.
isn't Tippie going to Graaf Reinet? But doesn't Graaf Reinet have
It's
a new
going to
name?
Graaff Reinet. Yes, I think it's Robert Sebukwe. Yes,
Okay. Well, it's
and to
still
be,
Graaf Reinet. Mm.
yeah, I will, the people in Graaff
Reinette
Reinet
en
is still
Graaf
fighting
Reinette.
the fight. Yeah.
You will have to take a nice photo with Tippie and Reinet and just stand before the Graaf Reinet if you can just see that you are
Just
there.
what it was. So, yep. Awesome. That's Kathy, Madeleine Utu. Yes. So we were just talking. So while we wait, so Renette and I is going to Graaff Reinet. So we'll be there on Friday and Saturday. And then a week and a half from now, we will be in the garden route, Mossel Bay, George, Grootbrak. So if you're from that side of the world, do come and join us. The socials will go out hopefully by Friday. So yes, let us know and let us join. From Pretoria, new homeschool, welcome. And yes, I think to that note, Reinette, shall we start? It's a minute past four, and I don't want to be conscious of people's time, so over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Corne, and a warm welcome to everybody from across South Africa. I'm Reinette Lombard, one of the authors of the Tippie series, and this afternoon, Kathy Viljoen from Penguin Random House, the educational teams, joining us to tell you a bit more about the Tippie maths teacher guides. So, Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. We're
Hello.
looking forward to those guides and to the support that they're going to offer to parents, to teachers, to make it's super easy to teach maths in the foundation phase. So let's kick off this afternoon. Tippie does maths, and I'm so glad that he does maths and not meth, because maths are quite important skills for kids to have. But what makes Tippie does maths unique? Tippie Does Maths is so much more than just another maths program. Tippie Does Maths is a learning approach designed to help every child believe that they can succeed in mathematics. I think you need to let us know in the chat what you thought about maths when you were at school. I had phenomenal math teachers in high school, but I never really loved maths. And I think it is that preconceived idea that we're born with that, oh, I don't have a math brain, or I'm not good at maths, or maths is difficult. That often is the biggest stumbling block and hurdle for children to really enjoy and love math. Children don't hate math. What they hate is being confused, intimidated, and embarrassed by math. And that is what we want to change with the way that Tippie does maths. With understanding comes passion, and with passion comes growth, and a treasure is unlocked. And these words of Larry Martinek is why we created Tippie Does Math, because we want to change the way children feel about maths. Children must hold math in their hands before they can hold it in their heads and in their hearts. And that is the guiding principle for Tippie Does Maths. That children need to experience maths before they can love maths. So why do kids generally then hate math? Or why do they think they hate math? Typically because they think they're bad at math, but typically math books are very, very boring. It's white pages with rows and rows and columns of numbers. It is something that is typically not very interesting. So kids associated math with frustration. They are embarrassed when they struggle. And very often, and I know that when I went to school, I used to feel that math is an isolated school subject. And when am I ever going to use math in my everyday life? So those are the things that we're targeting, the things that we want to change. And Tippie does it in a unique and colorful and interesting way in both English and in Afrikaans. And Tippie then focuses on math throughout the foundation phase, level R, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Why do teachers or parents choose Tippie Does Maths? Some of the feedback that we've received is that it builds confidence. It focuses on understanding and not just on memorization. Math is something that you need to grasp. You need to hold it in your hands before you can understand it. And rather than just learning fractions, experiencing fractions, Tippie Does Maths make maths accessible. It supports teachers, and Kathy's going to talk a bit about how the teacher guides supports teachers and makes your prep planning super easy. It encourages active learning and participation, and Tippie Does Maths is different. It's colorful, it's practical, and it's relevant. If we quickly look at how Tippie builds confidence, many children believe that they are not good at maths. And our main aim is to change that mindset, breaking concepts into smaller, manageable, attainable steps. Tippie celebrates progress and creates opportunities for success in each of the books, in each of the levels. Why do we do that? Because when we program for success, we have confident learners. And children that are confident will be willing to participate. They will ask questions and they will persevere when they're faced with challenges. So building confidence in maths in the early years, in the foundation phase, has many, many benefits, and Tippie does that in his unique way. It focuses on understanding and not memorization. Learners are taught when and how we use math in our daily life. So it's relevant, it's colorful. We have games and activities included in the maths workbooks so that children learn the skills, so that they can practice the skills in a fun, age-appropriate way. That leads to stronger problem-solving skills, and it enables children to apply their knowledge. Some of those examples, extracts at the bottom of the page. Top Trump is a wonderful tool, a fantastic game, and Tippie's got his own Top Trump cards in one of the maths racing books, where we discuss price and engine capacity and top speed and horsepower and fuel and how cool a car is, but all the math outcomes link back to something fun and exciting. Time activities, multiplication. Working with multiplication, we work with a dozen, a half a dozen, so that it's, why do you need to know 12s? Because eggs come in 12s, hot dog rolls come in 12s. So applying math outcomes to everyday situations. It makes math accessible. Concepts are explained in a simple, child-friendly language. We make use of visual models, real-life examples, and it's interactive, hands-on activities. And there's a bit of psychology behind that, because Tippie and his friends are friends. So if Tippie can do maths, then children often feel that they can do it as well. Again, instead of having sums on a white page where kids just have to do addition and subtraction, we've created little games and activities where kids apply those skills. The example at the bottom, crack the code to solve the mental maths problems. And first we have to crack the code, and then we are able to do the addition. Help color according to a color code. Or then the last example on the page, speeding. Pretend you're a traffic cop. Look at the speedometer and what fine would you give that person that was speeding? Applying math in everyday fun worksheets, activities. Tippie supports teachers. Tippie Does Maths provides structured lessons and lesson plans, and those guides will be available in October, but Kathy's going to tell us more about them. The Tippie Does Maths leveled workbooks, they're ready-to-use resources. They include teaching strategies that reduce preparation time. There's high-quality instructions so that teachers can spend their time teaching and less time creating materials. In a lot of the Tippie workbooks, there are extracts that kids can pull out and can refer back to. So it's just a different, a unique way of looking at maths. It encourages active learning. Maths are interactive rather than passive. Children learn best when they learn through doing. It's colorful, there's engaging content, there's ideas that are being discussed. Thinking, problem solving needs to be explained. Problems are solved collaboratively, and alongside that, children develop reasoning skills as well as calculation skills. Maybe somebody can tell us what this little weird magoetertjie is called in English. I had so much fun creating that today to practice multiplication. And again, we're working on the outcome of multiplying in 4 and 5, but doing it slightly different. Some lovely examples of the visual structure that Tippie uses, the active participation that is involved, fun games, solving puzzles, logical thinking. Yeah, I really struggled to choose my favorite level or my favorite book. Tippie Does Maths, as I said earlier, available in level R, 1, 2, and 3, and then in English and in Afrikaans. There are 10 books in a level, and we've worked specifically with these 10 books to cover a year's worth of math outcomes. Book 1 always serves as a baseline of prior knowledge, and book 10 is a summary or an end of year assessment of all the skills that was taught during the year. Book 2 to 9 focuses on the math outcomes, but those outcomes are broken down so that there are clear progression and to build a solid foundation. Tippie Does Maths doesn't look like maths books, and that is the biggest compliment. Tippie Does Maths looks fun. It is interesting. Loads of illustrations, loads of visual structure. Tippie Does Maths uses both themes as well as practical application. And Tippie's made a paradigm shift where we think differently. I do believe that it is necessary with Generation Alpha that is growing up, that are so used to technology, to AI, to this whole new world, that we think differently about teaching and learning. And Tippie Does Maths fits in perfectly within that paradigm shift. The psychology behind it, programming for success, making it fun, breaking down outcomes, all leads to a positive attitude and a changed perception with regards to maths. Concrete schematic abstracts, and that is included in all the Tippie workbooks for maths. And I'm going to show you what that concrete schematic and abstract translate to on paper. Tippie uses levels for the maths, but the levels for maths is equivalent to the functional grade outcomes. Level R for grade R. Level 1, grade 1 maths outcomes. So how does Tippie really think differently about maths? We believe maths can be super easy and relevant. It's proudly South African. It relates to what South African children experience. It's sequential. It's a different and unique approach. It focuses on the building blocks of numeracy with multisensorial and loads of kinesthetic learning opportunities. It's progressive, builds on the previous level, and we use the outcomes as in the national curriculum, but not in the order that the national curriculum dictates. We believe that children should learn math outcomes for a specific grade over the course of a year, but that we cannot focus on those outcomes in isolation for a couple of weeks and then we move on to something new. And that is why all our outcomes are integrated into themes. So what are the broad outcomes? The broad outcomes comes from the national curriculum: numbers, operations, and relationships, patterns, functions, and algebra, space and shape, measurement, as well as data handling. So even though it looks quite unusual, we do cover all those outcomes in every level, for every grade. It's just approached in a different way. It's written, illustrated, and published in South Africa with our own unique South African money, South African experiences. Tippie Does Maths is written by teachers, not authors, but also it's written by foundation phase and specialist teachers and not by mathematicians. It is meant to make maths accessible and let math make sense for everyone. Tippie Does Maths is holistic and eclectic, where all the outcomes are integrated and where it's relevant to everyday situations. Tippie Does Maths have themes, and contextual learning happen because the math problems or the math outcomes relate to a specific theme. Tippie's approach to math. We know that children learn optimally when they learn in the following way. Children learn first through concrete experiences. Then only can they learn through schematics. And only then do we get to abstract learning. And those three things, both concrete, schematic, and abstract learning, are included in each of the Tippie workbooks. Learning in the Kitchen, Level 1, Book 9. The concrete learning or the practical application is on the first page. And with regards to learning in the kitchen, we provide you with a salt clay recipe that you can make with your child if you're homeschooling, or then use Play-Doh. But then there are practical activities, hands-on, engaging, experiencing maths. Tippie and Robin are baking special cookies with Mom and Gran today. The cookies that they are baking is at the back of the workbook. So the schematics, where you can cut them out and use those schematics, the pictures, the illustrations, to support learning. Count how many cookies everyone baked, linking quantity, all of those outcomes. And then, whoops, let's just go back one. So Tippie's approach to maths. There's more examples out of that Tippie in the Kitchen book, where we're starting to introduce fractions to grade 1s. But concrete, have a cake, cut a cake in half, in quarters, and then the schematics. So you don't need anything in addition. All the resources, all the practical materials that kids would need, that we were able to do schematically, are included in the back of the books. Progressive development, book 1 to 10. Book 2 requires children to have completed book 1. So because it is progressive, we can't work out of sequence. So we recommend you start with book 1, then book 2, so that the building blocks and the foundation is strong. The importance of prior knowledge. Each level also builds on the knowledge acquired in the previous level. And that way, we can ensure that there are no gaps. In a lot of, or in the books, there are the core concepts, and these core concepts just shows visually how we break down the outcomes. Our number concept in book 1 is a revision of 10. Then we introduce 11 and 12 in book 2. In book 12, we introduce more numbers. And then eventually we've introduced we've practiced and reinforced 1 to 10, and we've extended the number range up to 20. I often get asked, why does Tippie do maths? Tippie started as a reading program or a reading approach as readers. Why maths? Maths relies on language, and language requires vocabulary for shared understanding and for comprehension and for meaning. And for all the math concepts in the books, we've also linked that vocabulary, the concept, to an image, because then we create understanding. So that's just those ones. Tippie Does Maths, Level R, 10 books in the box set, Discovering at Home, Learning with Shapes, Playing on the Farm, Learning with Pets, Discovering on the Beach. So 10 different themes that again link back to the life skill themes, to everyday experiences that children have. The Tippie Does Maths Grade R Teacher Guide will be available in October, along with the rest of the guides. But Kathy is going to tell us more about that, and they are available in both Afrikaans and English. Level 1, 10 new themes. Discovering in the garden, discovering at the shop, learning in a game reserve. Lots of fun and interesting and engaging themes for the contextual learning. Beautiful themes, colorful, fun illustrations for the concepts, and that is the Level 1 books. The Tippie Does Maths books are A4 size, full color, and 28 pages in a book. So there's 280 pages of maths for a year. Just to show you a bigger example, Level 1, Book 1, Discovering in the Garden. The practical application, so that concrete learning, we share the ideas with you that relate to the theme, big and small. Before you can understand big and small, you need to experience big and small. Dig 2 big holes and 1 small hole. Dig 2 holes, 1 deeper than the other. And I think for me, this part of the book is super special because children need to hold maths in their hands before they can hold it in their heads and their hearts. And this is exactly it. Learning through play, learning through participation, experiencing, but we can call it maths because it is math concepts. Rake, horizontal and vertical lines on the ground or in the soil. Divide into two groups. One group search for green items, the other group search for brown items. Add the items together. How many do we have in total? That shows you the different activities. A beautiful one of those pull-out pages to refer to for the core skills. And then at the back of the books, the schematic material that are going to be used and are going to be applied throughout the book. So that you don't have to go and find play money, we've included it for you. Or dominoes. This shows the progression. This is book 5, I think. Again, loads of practical ideas, learning with sport, visual structure, two-dimensional, three-dimensional objects, but presented in a different and Tippie's unique way. Measurement, doubling, using balls. Book 10, which would serve as your end of year assessment, revision, consolidating all the skills throughout the year. Kathy, now it is over to you. Please tell us what we can expect in these teacher guides.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you want to see me. How can I get my camera on that you can see me?
So
Okay.
Kathy has been working extremely hard with the two authors of the maths teacher guides. It is almost time to go to print, Kathy, and we couldn't be more proud and more excited of what you've done with these teacher guides.
Thank you, Reinette. Yes, sorry, I can't seem to let my camera work. On Teams, it works fine, but now today it just doesn't want to. But you can hear me, right? So that's all right. Okay. So the teacher guides, the word teacher guide is correct, but the guide is really written for anyone who wants to help either their children or child at home or to help the learners in class. So this is not your typical guide. If you think about the Berlut guide or the old maths guide that we had when we were in school, that is there with all the answers of the sums that you have in the book. This is literally an explanation, word for word, how to introduce concepts to the class, different ways of, if you don't have a big backyard and you can't dig 2 holes, what else can you do to show the difference between a big hole and a small hole, or a big heap of leaves or whatever. So I thought I'm going to tell you about the 2 parts of the guide. So the guide is practically in 2 parts. The first part is what you see here in front of you, the content page. So what I call the first part. The first part is all the theory, all the academics and things you need to know as a teacher. So we would, for instance, start with introducing the Tippie math books, just like a brief summary about what the books are about. Then how to use the 10 books of level 1, exactly what Reinette said now, but just summarize. You can go back, Reinette, please, in like 2 or 3 paragraphs. Then we would have something like teacher resources used throughout this series. I'll get to that now. We have things like notes for a teacher to use specifically in a classroom. Not everyone has the same structure in classroom. So this is just, remember, it's always a guide for you to help. Time allocations, example of mental maths and counting activities. There are a lot of assessment guidelines, and we've worked closely with the CAPS documents. If you want to use it, it is there. There are termly or weekly lesson plans, which is just a guideline for you to use. And then the second part of the book is then the rest of the book, which is divided into 4 terms, and the 10 books of the Tippie Math series is then explained. Okay, next slide, please, Reinette. Here you have example of what we compiled in the teacher resources that we use throughout this series. And by saying this series, we mean the 10 books of, for instance, level 1 or grade 1. So there you will have number 1, the typical shape cutouts, or number 2, the number cards, or number 3, play money. So these are the things that you will find that we are going to refer to in the guide, because obviously you use it in the workbooks. Okay, next slide, please. Here is an example of what you can do in a daily lesson structure to help you, what you do for the first 10 minutes or then 5 minutes. And I know it's very nice to see this on paper. I do know that when you are in a class, you lost track of the minute, and sometimes 10 minutes become 30, or 5 minutes was never 5 minutes to start with. This is just again a guideline for you to help you. All right, and then we had 2 teachers who compiled or wrote the study guides or the teacher guide, just a few things for you to remember. Remember, some of us are old, experienced teachers, and some of us are very new, just past university last year. So things like this is important to know when you are in a classroom. And sometimes it's just interesting to see some of these things again to remind you what you can do. We have also included weekly lesson plans per term to help you what page you can do when and what will you find on some of the pages. And you will see there, I think the 1, 2, 3, the third and the fourth row, we have showed you what pages we're referring to in the Tippie workbooks to help you. And also we have been working with the DBE math workbooks and also integrated that if you were using that in the class, that we all work with that together. Okay, so here is just an example of literally book 1, page 1, term 1. And what you will see in this slide and in the next, maybe you can go to the next slide, Reinette. Sorry, I think the next one will capture everything. Yes, perfect. So what we've done with literally every page of the 10 books in the math series is what you see in front of you now. We have worked with the 6 divisions: equipment needed, the key focus skills, introducing the concept, the teaching tips, what is the lesson outcomes, and then the consolidation. So every page in the Tippie workbook looks, in the guide, looks like this. So if you think about the slide that Reinette showed you on the first page of Tippie, that there were about, I think, 15 different activities you can do. So you would think that when you have the first page of a book, the equipment needed is going to be a huge paragraph, because you're going to use soil, you're going to use I don't know, graphie, stickers. You're going to use whatever.
And a rake.
Okay, thank you. But for now, for this specific page that we are, I think, let me just see, I can't see what page it is, but we're only going to use play money. We're only going to use a 100 chart, a sharp HB pencil, and eraser. And so this is just to show you that when you are a parent or you are homeschooling, not all of these things we just know. So this is just really a back to basic guide to help you. What do you need for this page? With the key focus skills, we will zoom in on the specific skill that is presented in this page. And now if you look at introducing the concept, we thought that when we wrote the guides, that we are literally talking to you. So you will find that the explanations is very informal. And it's not an academic approach and a very, I want to say mathematic, but what I mean, it's not written in maths academic language. It's written for anyone at home or in school who wants to understand maths and who wants to make it as easy as possible for the children. And that is why we use this I want to say informal approach. Just make sure that this is really easy language and that we can all understand, because maths doesn't come as natural to every one of us. The teaching tips will then be really cool tips that you can use to present some of the concepts. The lesson outcomes, of course, what should you be able to have accomplished or the child after this page? And then the consolidation is just to show that there are some activities that you can do. And what we've done with the pages that was parallel to the DBE workbooks, we put in the icon DBE, and then we referred you to what page in the Maths DBE book you can use to use as further consolidation. Okay, next page, please, Reinette.
Kathy, just to quickly interrupt you there, under equipment needed, we can't include the HB pencil or the eraser, but the play money, the coins and the notes, as well as the 100 charts that are being referred to, is at the back of book 8. So this guide is a step-by-step of how you get the most from the workbooks, how you extend on the workbooks, and how you can integrate with the other learning areas as well as with the Rainbow math books. And the Rainbow math books are there because it is one of the requirements from the Department of Education that those books are used by public schools in South Africa.
Yes. This is just another example. If you look at the introducing the concept, there we gave 3 different things that you can do. So it's really step by step, exactly, Reinette. That's a good phrase to describe this. If the first game didn't work, try the second game, or then try the third game. You won't have time to do all of it. But that is what the authors of the guide did, to give you all of the practical possibilities and ideas for you to use for your classroom or to help your child at home. Right at the top of the page, you can see the focus of the page. It would be numbers, operations, and relationships. And right underneath that, we've used another icon, formal assessment. And then we just indicated that should you want to use this as an informal assessment, you can use this specific page to use as an informal assessment. We also have informal assessment, so we've also indicated that with an icon with IA to help you with some assessments. And then we have also included a few more activities if you want some more activities after what you've had in the workbooks. And we have printed it a bit small because the page count is quite high, but we have included a QR code for you to download this in A4 size, obviously for the children to see better. Otherwise, it's really, really small. And while I'm talking about the QR codes, in the front of the book, we also have a QR code leading you to checklists and rubrics and other assessment programs that you obviously are welcome to use as you see fit. So there's a lot of things that you can use in this guide to help you with the concepts and having a nice maths class. And I think that is that from me.
Thank you so much, Kathy. It's a mammoth task, not only 4 teacher guides, but we have to double that because it is 4 guides in English and 4 guides in Afrikaans. And the heart, the soul, the passion, and the hours that have gone into these guides are remarkable. I'm super excited. Can't wait for October to have them on the shelves.
Yes.
Tippie Does Maths Level 2, building on the grade 2 math outcomes on the skills acquired in level 1. Again, 10 fun themes, learning in space, learning while traveling the world, learning under the sea. I think discovering with monsters is my favorite level 2 maths book because there's so many eyes and ears, and it's great for multiplication, for halving and doubling and symmetry, but all linking back to the fun theme. What was Discovering with Careers? Level 2, Book 4, Practical Application, the 200 chart, color-coded in the back of the book. Core concepts, your fractions, increases, number bonds, but Tippie's playing detective. Help him solve the math problems. Reading calendars, fractions. The Golden Rule edition, money problems. Story sums, DSS, draw, sum, sentence, to make story sums or word problems easier to understand. The 200 chart there at the back, cutouts, fun activities, the money. I think this is what was referred to in the teacher guide. Tippie Does Maths, level 3, more themes, learning with racing cars, discovering with dinosaurs, learning at the bakery, learning with robots. Suitable for grade 3, number concepts and range, 1 to 200. And again, we, instead of just answering multiplication sums, we've changed it into a little hide and seek game. Before Tippie and his friends can enter the amusement park, they need your help. Find the facts in the equation search, tick off each problem as you solve it. As I always say, there's always method to our madness, to the way that we do things. And within the math series, there's a lot of hidden curriculum skills as well. Learning behaviors that kids are learning incidentally in preparation for the intermediate phase. Money activities, maths practice, measurement activities, everything you need. You cut out your brochure for Adventure City and you complete your practical activities and a lot of the math problems by using your little pamphlet for Adventure City, a clock. And that is, of the 40 math books, just some extracts, some examples. There's no right or wrong. There's simply a different. But Tippie does maths differently, but Tippie does make maths fun as well. I'm going to, before we answer questions or look at the chat box, Kathy, is there something you want to add at this stage?
I'm sorry, I'm on mute. I just got my video back, so I wanted to say I'm really here.
This is a deputy principal, and I'm going to let her share her thoughts with you.
We were privileged enough to have Tippie come around to visit us and had a chance to look at their maths and their English books. And I am a primary school head of school, and I've taught grade 1 and all the way up to grade 7. And these books, when having a look at them, found that they are to be very practical and local. So the examples that they are used here pertain to what our children deal with every day in South Africa. and it's brought to life. It's not just numbers on a page. It actually makes sense. So as far as these books go, I think it's a worthwhile investment for our foundation phase teachers to put into the classroom. Makes life a little easier. And I'm hoping to get my school onto them ASAP. So yeah, enjoy.
And I couldn't have said that better. You need to hold the maths books in your hands, page through them to experience the difference. This teacher, Corne, and I met at a workshop in KwaZulu-Natal, and while I was talking about or presenting on, I think, learning to read with Tippie, this teacher was paging through all the math books. And afterwards, she came to me and she said to us, I need to have this in our school. The kids will love it. They will be able to progress with it. And a big, big thank you to Jackie for sharing that little video with us. Benjamin Franklin's words are so true. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. And that is exactly what our vision with Tippie Does Maths is. Dit was baie vinnig, baie kort. Lots of maths. And then we're going to get Corne to answer all the difficult questions.
My computer is very slow today. I think I see. I think it's something in the Cape Town weather because both Kathy and I is in Cape Town. So yes, I haven't actually seen any questions coming up as we progressed. So if you have anything, I think just pop it for us there in the chat line. And then I'll read out. Reinette can see it herself as well. She is on the list, so she can see things there as well. And just to strengthen what you said about Jackie, what you also said was the collaboration between the reading books and Tippie Maths. It is so cohesive that the two works brilliantly together. So where they stop reading, the collaboration between the two, they associate Tippie with learning and being fun. So she said that's why she's looking into the maths as well, because it's just another thing that the kids can hook Tippie onto, and it's a friend in all aspects of life, the reading and the numeracy. And then I see Kathy said number of information letter books. Correct. I saw the number of information or formation in the later books are not in the foundation font. Correct. Kathy, sorry, I am completely lost.
Sorry, it was someone else's question that I just popped in
that
there.
you've answered.
And I haven't answered it yet, but I'm hoping Reinette can help us with that one.
So, I love to rant about handwriting and fonts in the foundation phase, but I'm not going to do that today. Between the coastal and intercoastal schools in South Africa, there are differences in the font that's used. For various reasons, we decide in which levels we use which fonts. But if we think about fonts in environments around us, we don't see a 1 that always looks the same or a 2 that always looks the same. So, I will have to go back and think really long and hard on the number formation, but there is no right or wrong. There's simply a difference. Looking at level 2 that I have on my desk, level 2 definitely uses a foundation phase font. But that's an interesting one. Dankie, Emilu. Dit is altyd 'n moeilike ene om te antwoord want grondslagfase juffrouens is verskriklik passievol, afhangend van wanneer hulle studeer het, oor lettertipes, of klankvorming, ja, en daar is ongelukkig net nie 'n eenvoudige antwoord nie. Die beste wat ek kan sê is, daar's nie 'n reg of 'n verkeerd nie, daar's net 'n anders. Niemand het nog gesê, wat noem 'n mens hierdie ding in Engels nie.
Wat
Ken
noem mens dit
julle
in
op?
Afrikaans?
Dis 'n kwakkie.
Kwakkie. Yes.
Maar dit is een van die baie lekker aktiwiteite in die boek.
Hier's 'n interessante vraag, Reinette. Wat ek net opskrol hierso van Marlies vir sy vra. Sy sal baie graag vir Tippie in haar klas wil implementeer. Is daar 'n reeks vir SID leerders? Die skool bestaan uit leerders wat fisies en verstandelik gestremd is. Buite daaroor of daarvoor is ek mal oor Tippie leesboekies en my graad 3 klas wat 14-jarig is, maar op 'n 5-jarige vlak. So ja, ek los daai een by jou.
Jong, die beste advies, Marlies, wat ek jou kan gee, is om deur die wiskunde boeke te blaai. 5-jarige vlak sal vlak R voor geskik wees. En dit is ook een van die redes hoekom ons vlakke op al ons reekse gebruik en nie grade nie. Omdat wiskunde progressief is en wiskunde soos geletterdheid, soos taal, spesifieke boustene het, is vlak R die beginpunt en dan bou die ander vlakke op daai voorkennis. So dis dalk die moeite werd om te kyk of jy nie ergens deur 'n vlak R wiskunde reeks kan blaai nie.
Fantasties. Ek dink, ekskuus Shardenay, jy het nou jou vraag het eintlik daarbey aangesluit met graad 2 leerders vlak 2 boekies lees. So as jy nie seker is nie, vra net weer daar in die chat box. Dan kan ons terugkom na hom toe en dan het hy dit was
Daar
net
is, ek wil net sê, there's a difference between the maths levels and the learn to read of die leer my leesboeke se vlakke. So with regards to the maths, the level equals the grade outcomes. Whereas with the readers, die leesboeke, the levels en die vlakke is nie gelyk aan die graad nie, omdat ons dit vir beide huistaal en eerste addisionele taal gebruik. 'n Quackie, ek is mal daaroor.
And did you see Nikita's one? The chatterbox or the cootie catcher?
Cootie catcher, that's super cool.
Completely new. And then we have a Zulu question. Prudence asked, audio, visuals, and videos in isiZulu readers.
Ngifunda isiZulu, but it was a very, very long time ago. Prudence, we not yet at a point where the isiZulu series is being expanded on, but it is something that we will focus on.
But we have Zulu readers, right?
We do have Izinga R and Izinga 1. So there's 20 Zulu readers, but we're going to focus on the rest of them for the rest. Then I see the question, moet 'n graad 2 leerder vlak 2 boekies lees? Is die leerder Afrikaans huistaal of Afrikaans eerste addisionele taal? As dit 'n graad 2 leerder is wat Afrikaans huistaal lees, dan lees graad 2 huistaal vlak 3 en vlak 4 as voorgestelde boeke volgens die DBO se nasionale goedkeuring. Maar as 'n kind sukkel met vlak 3, beteken dit nie dat hulle nie die vlak 2 boekies eers kan lees nie. En dis deel van Tippie se uniekheid, die vlakke beteken ons kan vorentoe beweeg of ons kan terugbeweeg. Ons is nie graadgebonde nie. Die Tippie katalogus het 'n heerlike cheat sheet in. Wow, nou het ek nie 'n katalogus voor my oop nie. Kom ons kyk gou-gou. Ek gaan vir julle wys, hulle gaan die skakel vir die Tippie katalogus het Ena nou net gedeel. Maar as jy na die Tippie katalogus gaan kyk, dat ek nou net hier op my skerm by hom inkom, dan wys ek gou-gou vir julle. Die Tippie katalogus verduidelik alles baie mooi. Die voorgestelde grade, wat die inhoud is, en dan ook hoe die reekse of die verskillende levels vir die verskillende grade voorgestel word vir huistaal en vir eerste addisionele taal. Nou wys ek na die Engelse voorbeeld en ek praat Afrikaans. So, English, suggested grades, home language, first additional language. En dan hier die voorgestelde grade vir beide huistaal en eerste addisionele taal. Daai katalogus is baie volledig. Hoeveel vlakke is daar vir die leesboekies? Leesboeke in Afrikaans is daar 8 vlakke. Vlak RR en vlak R is ontleikende lees- en woordeskatboeke. Vlak 1 tot vlak 6 is leesboeke. Vlak 1, 2, 3 dekodeerbare kind leer self leesboeke en daar's 20 boeke in elke vlak. Dit gee vir ons 8 x 20, 160 Afrikaanse leesboeke. For English, at the moment, there's 140 English readers, level R to level 6, level RR being published in January alongside the grade R teacher's guide saam met die graad R onderwysersgids. So, maar vandag het ons wiskunde gesels. Ena, ek het gesien jy sê wiskunde was vir jou traumaties. En ek dink as ons dit vir 'n kind kan verander, hoe hulle voel, hoe hulle dink oor wiskunde, dan maak ons 'n reuse verskil.
Baie dankie Reinette, dit is baie waar. Ek dink mens moet daai angel uit wiskunde uithaal en Tippie is dit presies dit wat hy doen. So baie dankie Cathy, Reinette vir julle tyd en julle aandag wat julle vir ons gegee het vanmiddag. Dankie vir almal wat deelgeneem het. Stuur vir ons 'n e-pos.
Is jou Engels nou klaar?
My Engels is nou op. So I can go across to a different language. Skus, ja, ek het die Afrikaanse boodskap laaste gelees en toe blyk toe nou sommer in Afrikaans. So ja, send us a WhatsApp. Tippie's got his own WhatsApp line. Tippie's got an email address where you can find us on Facebook. We're literally everywhere. We always get the question for where can people go and see and look at the Tippie books. So any good, not publisher, bookshop close to you, bargain books mostly, have a huge selection. So go and have a look. Or give us a ring. All the numbers is in the back of the catalog, which you can find there on the link that Ina sent. And yes, I think that's a wrap for us. So go well, be safe, and hopefully we'll see some of you next week in Grofrenet. Well, this week in Grofrenet. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye julle.